Hi and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. We got another tier list today, ladies and gentlemen, and that is ranking the top 20 wonder kids in the world right now. Of course, this is just my opinion. It's not the correct opinion. So let me know in the comment section what you change as always. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're so close to 10k subs. Share it with some friends and let's get into it. I just want to clarify. For me, a wonder kid is maximum the age of 21. So there's no 22-year-olds. There's no Bellingham. There's no Musiala. There's none of those guys. It's 21 and under. Simple for me. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, these are the 20 names I've gone for. Yes, there's some debate. Maybe I've excluded a few that maybe could be considered on here. And I do think these are easily 20 incredible wonder kids that could be in this list. Starting off with João Neves. This guy here for me is one of the best midfielders in the world. He showed it last season at PSG, winning the treble, being an integral part of that. When PSG actually signed him, I thought, have they overpaid? Have they gotten a good deal? At the time, I was a little bit on the fence. I saw him at Benfica. I saw what he did in that midfield there. Him, Enzo Fernandez, the young players at Benfica at the time, and he raised their level. They were very good in Europe. They were obviously great domestically. And PSG did great. They sold Ugarte. They bought in João Neves. He was a great replacement. And I look at João Neves and I think he's one of the best midfielders in the world. He's still so young. He's still going to develop so much. So it's almost scary looking at what he can become in the next 10 odd years. And I think the Ballon d'Or did him dirty, not only with the ranking of the top 30, but also in the Golden Boy Award. I think he had a case to even win it. I'm not saying I would have given it to him because there's a certain other young player that won it, but João Neves for me is one of the best in the game. I definitely think top 10 for sure. Right now, I'm looking at 2 to 5 and I'm thinking low second category for now. For me, this guy is incredible. Another incredible midfielder is Adam Wharton. Oh my goodness. This guy here is one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. He's physically so imposing. He's built as if he's 26, 27. He's experienced as well. There's one thing being an under 21-year-old, but there's also one thing being an experienced under 21-year-old who's played for the national team, who's already won 2 trophies for Crystal Palace, who's led the midfield for a club like Crystal Palace, who obviously aren't one of the biggest clubs out of all the players on this list. But in recent years, they've been one of the better teams in England. They've been progressing season upon season, and Wharton's been at the core of that. Wharton's been at the heart of that. Wharton's been integral to the success we've seen from Crystal Palace, and there's no doubt in my mind he will join a massive club. He will probably stay in England. I kind of see him going to like an Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, but I would also love to see how Wharton could translate his game abroad for a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, a Bayern Munich even. I could see him there. But for me, Wharton's one of the best in the game. Where would I rank him? Top 10, I'm thinking low 3rd category, high 4th category. I don't think he's in that 2 to 5. I'm tempted to go low 3rd for now and then reevaluate at the end as we always do. But yeah, for now I'll put him there. Moving on now to Lucas Bergvall. I'm such a fan of him. I think he's technically so gifted. I think he's really come to his own at Tottenham now in the last 6-7 months. I kind of looked at him when they signed him and I said actually on one of the Soccer Archive videos, I think he would be signing of the summer or underrated signing of the summer or something like that because they got him for a really good fee. He's still very young. I believe he's 19 years old. This guy for me has bags and bags of potential. And in terms of like that technical 8, I think he can be one of the best in the Premier League in a few years. However, he's not as experienced as some of the other names on this list. He suffered with injuries here and there, but I do see a lot of raw talent there. And I think Bergvall within a few years will be climbing the ranks. But for now, I'm going to put him in the lowest tier, but this is no disrespect. I really rate Lucas Bergvall. Moving on to another PSG player, and come on, bro. We're talking about one of the best footballers in the world. I mean, for me, Desiree Doué, again, you could argue he was robbed of the Golden Boy Award because he won the treble. He was an important factor in that. He scored a brace in the Champions League final. You're 20 years old and you scored a brace in a Champions League final. I mean, doing that at 20, let's just say he's a rocket taking off. And rockets go up and up and up and up until they explode into outer space, right? He's already scored a brace in the Champions League, won a treble, right? And he's barely taken off. Barely. Imagine what he could do in the future. Imagine the trophies this guy can lift. The impact this guy can have. Not only for a PSG, but the French national team. We're looking at a potential Ballon d'Or winner. I look at Doué and I think he has all the qualities of one of the best footballers in the world. He already is that, sorry. Skillful. He has great feet. He has a good shot. He's very quick. He's an intelligent attacker. He obviously tries to emulate that Neymar kind of on the eye aesthetic, let's say, which I think he has traits of Neymar. I don't think he's a like for like comparison really, apart from the skill side of things and the technical qualities, just not on the same level as my glorious king. But I'm looking at Due and I'm thinking here, like, come on, bro. We're easy top 2 to 5. Like, I have him over Neves as well, but like, he's easily up there. No doubt in my mind. And I think Due categorically could potentially be the best player in the world one day. It will be hard to sort of rival some of the other players that are, let's say, circulating in world football, but Due is he's one of the best in the game already. Moving on now to Rio Engamo, who I believe just turned 18, like a month or two ago. He's one of those where you could include, you maybe couldn't include. We haven't seen a lot of him, but I think from what we've seen of him in glimpses for a club like Liverpool, having an impact as well. I mean, he scored the winner at Newcastle, at St. James's Park. I mean, that's a big stadium. That's a big statement to make. I'm looking at Rio and I'm thinking, he's quality. And I actually have a friend who played with Rio when he was at Chelsea. And he told me my friend is older than Rio, but he said that he was a level above most young players that he'd seen. He would always train up. He had ridiculous feet. He was super skillful. He just needed to work on that finalization, that final ball, because in the final third, he would often make the incorrect decision. But I think that's a maturity thing. I mean, my friend was describing him when he was like 16, 15. So now he's 18. Now he's integrated in a Liverpool team where he's going to be training with the best of the best week in, week out. That will translate in his game. But in terms of the raw technical ability, my friend said this guy's top. This guy's one of the best he's seen, and he's trained with Cole Palmer and Kunku, Ethan Nwaneri. I think he can potentially become one of the best wingers in world football. I do think he's a better talent, for example, than Lucas Bergvall. We haven't seen as much of Rio, though. But how am I ranking this? I'm going to try and sort of blend talent, what we've seen, into one almost. So consistency levels, but also where I think your ceiling could be. At the same time, though, I'm not going to favour ceiling because then this would be completely skewed, for example. So for me, Rio is going in the lowest category, but that's simply due to the fact that we haven't seen enough of him yet. Moving on to my friend now, my guy, Dean Huijsen. Shout out to you every time, bro. What a player. I do believe that Dean is the best young defender in the world. There's obviously aspects to Dean's game where he needs to modify and improve on, but I think that will come with age. Dean is 20 years old. He's already played for Juventus, trained and played with some of the best players in Europe. Roma under Jose Mourinho. Played a whole season in the Premier League for Bournemouth in one of their best seasons in their career, and now is at the biggest club in the world in Real Madrid. So Dean's already been around and is experienced, super experienced for someone with only 20 years of age. With only 20 years living on planet Earth, he's culminated so much experience, it's impressive. I think Dean's technical side of the game really elevates him. He's got great feet, he's got a great passing range, he's good in the air because he's very tall. But I think what Dean needs to sort of improve on, and I think this will come with time, is the defensive side of the game. The one-on-one defending. We've seen him get caught out sometimes on that, but I think that will come with time. Naturally, he's still very young, so he's going to naturally get bigger and grow stronger. Dean's technical side of the game is so superior, and that you can't teach. In my opinion, the technical side of the game, you cannot teach. You either have good feet or you don't have good feet. Of course, you can improve your first touch and your passing range with time, but I think that is more natural talent. I think like Neymar, for example, was born with that technical ability. And I think Dean, in terms of centre halves, is one of the most technical defenders I've seen at that age, if not the most technical at that age. So I think the defensive side of the game, he can improve on. Bro, he's training with Kylian, Vinny, Rodrigo, Bellingham, day in, day out. So naturally, he's going to improve. He trains against Lamine with their national team. He goes up against the best players in the world every single day. So I think with time, he's going to improve on that side of the game. I'm not too worried about that. I already think he's the best young defender in the world. So I'm going to put him 2 to 5. That's my guy. And I do think he's one of the best young players in the world. So for me, he's there. Moving on now to Zaire Emery. And it's a bit frustrating with him because in the last few years, we haven't seen as much as we would have hoped. There was that one season, I want to say 23-24, 22-23, when PSG went on a long run in the Champions League. I believe in the semi-final, they lost to Dortmund, right? I think, yeah, 23-24. Zaire Emery was an important, integral part of that midfield. But now you're looking at the situation. They got Fabian, Vitinha, João Neves. Where is he kind of going to fit? He's not really going to start in that midfield. For the French national team, he's not going to start there. But the guy is still, I believe, 18 years old. He's still ridiculously young. He's still extremely talented. And again, he's got experience for such a young age. Do I put him on par with an Adam Wharton right now? I don't. I have to be honest. But I do think he's still a top player. Therefore, I'm kind of looking at this list and I'm thinking, where am I going to rank you? I'm thinking either high bottom tier or low second bottom tier. And I think I'm going to go low 11 to 15 for now. Moving on now to, of course, my favourite player in the world. My favourite player on this list by a mile. The chosen one. The Anakin Skywalker of footballers. Kenan Yildiz. That's my guy as well right there, man. Everyone knows how much I rate Kenan. I not only think that Kenan is the best player in the Serie A, I think he's the second best player, young player in the world. I do. I'm sorry. What Kenan has done at the age of 20 for Turkey, consistently performing at the highest level, and for Juventus, consistently performing at the highest level, is ridiculous. I remember I saw him for the first time in January 2024 when we played in the Coppa Italia against Salernitana. Me and my dad were at the stadium. I saw brilliance. I saw so much raw ability that I hadn't seen at Juventus at that age since Paul Pogba. And I said to my dad, this guy, he's different. We agreed that he was going to lead the Lions for Juventus for the years to come. He scored a beautiful goal that day. And ever since then, he's proved me right. And now I'm looking at a situation where he's the main man at Juventus. He wears the 10. He's continuing Dybala, Pogba, Tevez, Del Piero, Platini, Roberto Baggio's legacy. And he's our best player. He's one of the most technically gifted footballers I've ever seen at the club. He's two-footed. He's a great final third player. He's versatile. He's a great playmaker. He's a great dribbler. He's very strong, bro. He's extremely hard to muscle off the ball. He has it all. I don't really think he has a flaw to his game. And for me, he goes straight in his 2 to 5 category. And if it wasn't for another youngster, I might consider him to be the very best. And Dean said it himself, by the way. Dean said that his age group at Juventus, Kenan was the best. So for me, I look at Kenan, his name literally means star. I see a different being. I see a different human. And I think at Juventus right now, we're obviously not the club we used to be. He's obviously has to carry the weight and the pressure on his shoulders, and he's doing so at such a young age, which I respect massively. So he's great. Moving on now to Alejandro Balde. Now, this is a bit technical because it depends on when you're watching this video. I believe his birthday is a day after mine, October 18th. So me and Alejandro Balde are in our last days as a wonder kid. You know, me, obviously I didn't want to include myself. I have great feet, rare tear, but soon I'm 22. Like Taylor Swift, feeling 22, which is kind of annoying because I can no longer put myself in the category of the best young players in the world. So I'm growing old, which is really upsetting me. But so will be Alejandro Balde. Bro plays for Barcelona and I'm making videos in my room. No, it's great. No, he's great as well. He's one of the best left backs in the game. I think last season he was top 3 for sure. You could even argue second behind Nun Mensch. But I think Balde is incredible. He's one of the best in his role, as I said. I'm looking at this situation. I got to put him 6 to 10. He deserves a lot of respect, and I just think he's a quality left back. Good defensively, good offensively. Again, going up against the very best day in, day out. He's only going to improve and mature with age. And being at a club like Barcelona, he's going to see a lot of success in his career. And there's no doubt in my mind he's going right to the very top. Moving on now, we got Arda Güler. This is tough because I actually have no spot in the second category. So I might need to fiddle around with this at the end. But I think Arda Güler is a joy to watch. Before he signed for Madrid, I made a TikTok on my Juventus page saying we need to sign this guy. Way before Kenan was in the starting 11, by the way. I looked at what he did in Turkey and I was just like, wow, this kid is special. He's got incredible feet, a great strike, super intelligent. He can play in the 10, he can play out wide, he can even play in the 8. He's versatile. He's got everything you want from a modern day midfielder or a modern day advanced midfielder. Arda Güler is incredible. Him or Kenan, of course I prefer Kenan. I think Kenan is the better player. And I think Kenan's proved it statistically, numerically, consistency-wise. But I know Arda's suffered from injury problems. But I just think these two are incredible. And Turkey have a very, very bright future. Güler, I'm going to obviously have to put 6 to 10. But he could be bumped up, potentially. Moving on now to Ethan Nwaneri. I think it's sad with Ethan. I think he has bags and bags of potential. We've seen him most often play on the right-hand side in a 4-3-3 for Arsenal. But he's naturally an 8. He's naturally a midfielder, which I think was scary because of how good he was on the right, which kind of, again, stresses his versatility in the final third. Something that I think differentiates young players on how versatile they are in the final third. A player that can play in the 10, the 8, on the right, you're looking at someone that can cause so many problems for a defence. You're looking at someone that has so many different weapons in his armoury to hurt a team, and Ethan is that. Ethan's got a wand of a left foot. When he cuts in on his left, it's almost Robben-esque. Not obviously at that level yet. He's still very young and very raw. But what I mean by that is you know what he's going to do. But the way he strikes a ball is so effective. It's almost that Phil Foden shot where it just goes up. But slowly, and it's just perfect. It just goes straight in the corner, top corner, and the keeper can't do anything. And Ethan's got that technique on lock. He's very strong. He's very big for his age. Again, hard to muscle off the ball. He's got good feet. I think Ethan Ranieri has a bright future ahead of him. My only issue with Ethan's situation right now is he should have left Arsenal this summer. Not on a permanent though. I believe Ethan Ranieri should have gone out on loan. And I said that Juventus should have tried to approach him on loan. I would have bought him to Juventus immediately. Because for me, he's a player, as I said, a versatile player. He could play in a double pivot for us. He could play in the 10. He could play off the right. And I think he would learn and mature so much playing week in, week out consistently. For a team like Juventus, whether that be in Italy, whether that be in Spain, or even in the Premier League, I think Ethan should have gone out on loan. And he's made cameos here and there for Arsenal this season. But again, Arsenal signed Madueke. So it's even more competition for him. Then you've got Eze Odegaard as the advanced midfielders. Where can he really fit in this team playing week in, week out? That was my biggest question mark I had going into the season. And so far, unfortunately, I've been proven correct. So I do believe Ethan probably should have gone out on loan. Maybe he will in January, maybe he will next summer. I don't know. But for me, Ethan's got a massively high ceiling. I think he's got a higher ceiling than Lucas Bergvall, for example. I'm going to put him 11 to 15. Moving on to Endrick now. And Endrick is such a tough one. Because I haven't seen as much of Endrick as I have of these other players. And that's partially down to the fact that he's barely played for Madrid. I haven't really been impressed when I've watched him play for Madrid. But then again, I feel sorry for him as well. I heard he was offered to Juventus on loan this summer, which I would have taken because I would have loved to have seen how he would have adjusted to Italian football, played for us. He's not getting any minutes there. And I've read that in January, Real Madrid are even looking to sell him, which is insane. Real Madrid love young players. They love young Brazilians especially. Ever since they let Neymar slip through the cracks, they've gone for every young Brazilian ever. We've all seen this. And Endrick was like, that was the banker. That was the one that couldn't fail. It was the ones that never failed almost, like Neville said. But so far, has it been a success? Probably not. But has he lacked game time? Of course. There was a lot of noise coming out of Brazil when he was at Palmeiras. And he hasn't really lived up to that potential yet. But I think it's just one of those situations where Endrick kind of needs to change his scenery. He kind of needs to go elsewhere, go abroad to sort of prove his worth, not only to himself, but to the world. But he's super young. He's going to improve. I think he's going to be one of the better players. But is his ceiling as high as some of these other players? Has he proved himself? That's another big question that I was talking about. I don't think he's proved himself as much as a lot of these names. Therefore, for that reason, I've got to go 16 to 20. And I don't want to do that, but for now, he's there. Moving on now to Nico Paz. This guy is a joy to watch. He is 21 years old. He just turned 21, I believe, like last month. There's not many words I can use to describe Nico Paz. I mean, what he's done for Como in the last year has been impressive. Super impressive. Nothing short of incredible. He won, of course, Young Player of the Serie A last year. It was between him and Kenan, but I think Paz played more minutes as well. So, granted, he deserved that. He's already had an amazing start to the season. 3 Man of the Match awards. He's technically so gifted. He's got a great first touch, a great passing range, wicked shot, incredible feet, great dead ball specialist. He's Argentine, but he grew up in Spain. He learned the Spanish model of football, and he's one of the most like Spanish, non-Spanish footballers. I know he grew up in Spain, but he represents Argentina. That's what I mean from Spanish, non-Spanish. He's kind of like Messi almost, in terms of like Messi grew up in Spain, not technical ability. And Real Madrid have a buyback clause on this guy for like 10 million. He's walking into Madrid starting 11. I'm not joking. Next season, when they bring him back, he's starting for them. He's incredible. For me, he goes straight 6 to 10. I really don't think that's up for debate. I think he's one of the most underrated young players in the world, and he doesn't get talked about enough because he plays in Italy. But this guy is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Moving on to Mastantuono now. I think Mastantuono is great. I think Mastantuono has a lot of potential. I think what he was doing in Argentina for River Plate, he deserved that big money move for a young transfer, let's say, to Europe. And when he signed for Madrid, I was excited, but I was also like, will he get much game time there? But boy, has he gotten a lot of game time. And boy, has he been good for Madrid this season. When you have technical players like Mastantuono, Goulet, and then you got more experienced players like the Mbappes, the Judes, despite being very young, the Rodrigos, the Vinnies, you just have a recipe for success. That is just like Lottery ticket after lottery ticket after lottery ticket after lottery ticket. And Franco Mastantuono, again, a super technically gifted midfielder, great dead ball specialist, good strike on him, super intelligent offensive player. You're looking at one of the best. You are. Now, I'm looking at this situation, I'm thinking, he probably deserves to be a bit higher than 11 to 15, but I'm going to put him here for now. However, in terms of pure talent, I think he is more talented than an Adam Wharton. But I think what Adam Wharton's been doing in the Premier League consistently, week in, week out, for a long period of time, I don't think I can put him on that same level just yet. Moving on now to Miles Lewis-Skelly. There's no doubt in my mind he's one of the best young fullbacks in the world. Again, he's not even a natural fullback by trade. He's a midfielder. He's got that stocky build. He's small, he's diminutive, but he's physically strong. And again, he's sort of really only played consistently this year for Arsenal. But I think ever since he did start, he's been top. However, he hasn't got a lot of game time this season because Calafiori's back from injury. And Calafiori is the starting left back. Calafiori's better than Miles Lewis-Skelly. But I'm looking at Skelly and I think he's got a massively bright future ahead of him. I think he's really good. He's good defensively. He plays for the badge. He works really hard. But I'm looking at these names and I'm just thinking, I don't think you're on the same level talent-wise as Ethan. I'm going to put you 16 to 20, high 16 to 20. Moving on to Esteval now. And similar to Mastantuono, I know he just signed for Chelsea. But again, there was a lot of noise from him in South America. Everyone was talking about this kid, Esteval, born in 2007, the next Neymar. Do I think he's the next Neymar? No. No. For me, there isn't a next Neymar in this world. There isn't one. But do I think Esteval has bags of potential? 100%. Do I think he's one of the best wingers in the world right now? 100%. You look at the performance he put in off the bench against Liverpool, scored the winner. Every time he pointed the man, he looked sharp. He looked dangerous. He's an explosive winger. He's got good feet. He's skillful. He's got a wicked final ball. A wicked final ball. His crossing ability is insane, by the way. That's one thing I praise him massively on. His finishing will come with time. He's going to improve that naturally. We have to remember someone like Vinny, for example, when he first signed for Madrid. This guy had no end product. And I think Esteval has good end product. Not elite level yet, but that's going to come with time. And I'm looking at Esteval and I think he's one of the best young players in the world. For me, he does go 6 to 10. Moving on to Kobbie Mainoo now. And it's so frustrating with Kobbie because when Man U won the FA Cup, when he was playing with England in the Euros, you were looking at one of the best young midfielders in the world. And I still believe he is that. I don't think he's lost the ability he had. He's lost the confidence, of course. Amorim, for some reason, doesn't trust him. He doesn't want to play him, which is bizarre to me. And I got to respect Ten Hag for giving him the platform to flourish, the platform to succeed. And he proved that. So to me, it's a little bit strange that he's barely played in the last year or so. And the fact that he's not getting a run around nowadays is insane. My message to Kobbie Mainoo is, I know you're born and bred in Manchester. I understand that. But sometimes you need to follow a certain footballer in life. You need to follow Paul Pogba. You need to leave Manchester United. They do not value you there. They don't protect you there. Amorim is useless. Man United are a sinking ship. And you need to leave. There were talks of you leaving this summer. Potentially even going to Napoli. Doesn't matter. Leave the club, Kobbie. You are too good to be wasted away on the bench. You are too good for that. I would have loved him at Juventus on a loan. Man United were not open to a loan. They're screwing him over. They're completely screwing him over by wasting him on the bench. And I still believe there's a massive player in Kobbie Mainoo. And I think he has bags and bags of potential. I think he's been misprofiled as well. For me, Kobbie Mainoo is an A. Not a deep line playmaker. So for that, I'm going to put him 11 to 15. Moving on to Pau Cubarsí now. Again, one of the best young defenders in the world. So I know what people are going to say. He's better than Dean. He's better than this. Fair enough. I believe that Dean is a better defender than Cubarsí. Not to say that Cubarsy's bad. I do think Cubarsy's a top level centre-half and I think he's one of the best young defenders in the world. Probably top 2 with Dean. And I think he's going to have a great career. But I would rather have Dean in my team. For me, Cubarsí, he obviously plays a very high line with Hansi Flick at Barcelona. So naturally, the defence is going to get caught lacking every now and again. And they can see way too many transitions than they probably should. Despite this, though, for me, he's 11 to 15. What he's done, I believe he debuted at like 16. I remember there's the image of him and Donnarumma arguing in like the 23-24 season. It's insane. But I'm going to have him in that 11 to 15th category. Final 2 now. Max Dowman, bro, the guy's like 15. I mean, I included him because of the name and how good he is at that age. But again, we need to give him time. He's yet to play consistently in the Premier League. Yes, I'm sure he's going to be a massive talent, one of the best young players in the world. And the raw ability is there. I've seen him off the bench and it's impressive how he goes up against fully grown adults. But he's still very young. He's still very raw. I got to put him low level, bottom tier. And lastly, the best footballer on the planet for me, Lamine Yamal. He is obviously the GOAT youngster. He's also the best player in the world for me. So this kind of goes without saying. What I've seen this kid do at 16, 17, 18, I've never seen from a footballer. I remember watching him live in the Euros 2024 against Italy, and I was like, this kid might be the best player in the world. And he was 17. He wasn't even 17. I believe he was turning 17 at the time. But this was before he turned 17. It was insane. I was like, how is this guy real? He's one of the fakest footballers ever. He kind of has traits of Messi and Neymar in him. And for me, he's better than both of them at this age. Will he go on to be a Messi in his career? Maybe. Time will tell. He's already had injury problems, which isn't ideal. And he needs to stay focused on the pitch and not get distracted with fame, money, all these other BS distractions in life. But I believe he's the best footballer on the planet. His ridiculous feet, his playmaking and goal scoring is of the highest caliber for his age as a winger. He can easily win 10 Ballon d'Ors in my opinion, so I got Lamine first. Let's play around with this a bit. I'll probably have Due just over Dean, I think. Dean is my guy, so I'm happy to have him top 4. I like, big fan of his. João Neves for me is top 5. Goulet just outside. I'm going to have Esteval, I think, around there. I'm going to have Paz over Balde for sure. Adam Wharton just in 10th, but I could drop him and put Kabasi in. It's very, very tight. I think I will. I love Wharton. I think he's great, but just Kabasi, what he's done on the biggest stage for Barcelona in the last few years, I think he deserves to be top 10. I do. I'll swap Zaire and Nwaneri. Yeah, Colby over Nwaneri as well, to be honest. I do feel a bit for Endrick, but I just think, like, the expectation and the reality just hasn't lived up to it yet. We just haven't seen enough of Endrick at Madrid in Europe. I am quite happy with this. I think you could mix and match. I think Neves could be over Dean. It's debatable. But this is my list. Let me know in the comment section what you changed. Sub to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video and share it with some friends. And I'll see you all in the next one.